This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. International condemnation of Donald Trump is growing after reports the president used an expletive during a meeting about immigrants from Africa, Haiti, and El Salvador. While meeting with lawmakers, Trump reportedly said, "Why do we want all these people from Africa here? They're S-hole countries. We should have more people from Norway." Trump also reportedly said, "Why do we need more Haitians? Take them out." Earlier this morning, Trump wrote on Twitter, quote, "The language used by me at the DACA meeting was tough, but this was not the language used. What was really tough was the outlandish proposal made, a big setback for DACA." Trump's remarks come weeks after the New York Times reported Trump had also disparaged Haitians and Nigerians during a closed-door meeting in June, saying Nigerians would never, quote, go back to their huts if they came to the U.S. As for Haitians, Trump said, quote, they all have AIDS. Trump's latest remarks come just after his administration announced it's ending temporary protected status for up to 250,000 Salvadorans who've been living in the U.S. since at least 2001. Last year, the Trump administration announced it also is ending temporary protected status for tens of thousands of Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Sudanese immigrants living in the U.S. Trump's S-hole remarks Thursday have been condemned across the globe. That's S-hole. We're not using the actual expletive that he used, 4 letters before the word hole. United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Rupert Colville decried Trump's remarks.
These are shocking and shameful comments from the President of the United States. I'm sorry, but there's no other word one can use but racist. You cannot dismiss entire countries and continents as whose entire populations, who are not white, are therefore not welcome. The positive comment on Norway makes the underlying sentiment very clear. Unlike the earlier comments made vilifying Mexicans and Muslims, the policy proposals targeting entire groups on grounds of nationality or religion, and the reluctance to clearly condemn the anti-Semitic and racist actions of the white supremacists in Charlottesville. All of these go against the universal values the world has been striving so hard to establish since World War II and the Holocaust.
In South Africa, Jesse Duarte of the African National Congress also criticized Trump.
This is not country, neither is Haiti or any other country in distress. Obviously, we're in no position to stop any president from saying anything they wish to say, but all we can say is that developing countries do have difficulties. Those difficulties are not small matters, and it's not as if the United States doesn't have difficulties. There are millions of unemployed people in the U.S., millions of people who don't have healthcare services or access to education, and we would not deign to make comments as derogatory as that about any country that has any kind of socio-economic or other difficulties.
And in Haiti, longtime activist Renee Seville said Trump should be reminded of Haiti's history.
In the name of the Haitian people, we are part of a patriotic emergency that is fighting for real change in Haiti. We demand that Donald Trump apologize before the entire continent, as well as before Haiti, the country whose blood has been used by ancestors who have served with their minds and bodies to liberate the United States itself from slavery. Haiti is not it's a great country. It's the mother of liberty.
Trump's remarks prompted his hometown paper, the New York Daily News, to publish on its cover an illustration featuring Trump's likeness superimposed over a cartoonish poop emoji with the headline, "S for brains." Trump spews vicious slur against immigrants. We go now to Florida, where we're joined by the acclaimed Haitian-American novelist Edwidge Danticat. She is a novelist speaking to us from Orlando, Florida, author of a number of books, including The Farming of Bones, which won an American Book Award. She was born in Haiti, came to the United States when she was 12. We are speaking today to Edwidge, and on this day after Trump's S-hole comments, on the 8th anniversary of the devastating Haitian earthquake that killed as many as 300,000 people. Edwidge Danticat, welcome to Democracy Now! Your response to President Trump.
Well, thank you, Amy. My response to President Trump is total condemnation. It was a very racist remark, which shed light on earlier decisions that had been made by the administration, for example, about temporary protected status being eliminated for Haitians and Salvadorans, and his remark, as reported by the New York Times, about all Haitians having AIDS. It seems like, once again, Haiti is being used as a foil, and his baiting his bait and feeding them Haiti as red meat. And it's extremely sad that it happens also in the shadow of this day. Today was going to be an extraordinarily sad day for many of us anyway, who lost our family members, who lost our friends in this devastating earthquake. So this is even more salt on our wounds. Not surprising because of the nature of this presidency and the way this president conducts himself, but it is a terrible slight. It's completely racist, especially the way that he paralleled Haiti and Africa, which is a continent, not a country. Someone should tell him. And as describing them in this manner and contrasting them to Norway.
Seems to be redefining the term White House, where he lives in Washington, and what he wants to see in this country. Edwidge Danticat, we have been playing the responses of people around the world. From South Africa, one of those, as Donald Trump calls them, S-hole, but he uses the full expletive, though inexplicably this morning he's kind of denying this in a tweet. Though yesterday, when the White House was asked about this, they did not deny that he said this. I mean, there were so many Congress members in the room. What does it mean for Haitian-American families? Both the policy, what you're facing, the loss of what so many communities are facing, Haitian communities and Salvadoran, the loss of TPS, but also for your kids, when people hear these terms.
Well, that's exactly where I was going to go. Now there's so many Haitian children who will be going to school today, and inevitably it will come up, and then they will have to, their parents who are going to have to explain to their children why they don't, what the president has said and what kind of country they actually come from, in a country that, like Haiti, that has had difficulties, but that also the U.S. has played a hand in creating certain types of situations that has led to this, to the level of poverty that we have, which doesn't mean that we are not human beings, that we don't have dreams, that we're not trying very hard to keep our country going. So it's very disparaging.
Edwidge Danticat, what would you say if you were meeting with President Trump today at the White House?
I don't think I would be meeting with President Trump, but I would use this opportunity that you have given me to tell him to just stop it. Stop it. I mean, he's spewing white supremacist views that have real consequences in the lives of ordinary people. We already see it online, people who are jumping in and saying, of course, what he's saying is true. And then there are people who will act on it when they meet people like us. Who will exercise certain prejudices that affect the lives of the people he is talking about, but that also can lead to actual violence against our bodies, against our children. So I think he needs to realize that what he's saying from the biggest bully pulpit in the whole world is affecting individual people. I don't know that he cares, because I think he's just spewing these things, and I think in part this was also, this is what he believes, but what he's saying from this very high position of power affects the future of nations, affect the lives of individuals, affect how policy is created. And now you have all these white supremacists and racists who feel so empowered because basically the President of the United States has put them on, has put a target on the backs of these people who he has described in this way, for them to be ridiculed, for them to have prejudices exercised against them, and in some cases to have violence, on assaults possible on their bodies, because these words give permission to certain kinds of people, and we become then hyper-visible in our vulnerability because we have been singled out, not once in the policy with the TPS, once with the AIDS, and now with this, and as a group of people, as Haitians, and as people here saying from Africa, and he's singling out people and making us targets for all kinds of possible attacks.
And finally, Edwidge, on this anniversary, this 8th anniversary of the earthquake in Haiti that killed up to 300,000 Haitians.
Yes. Well, today, this is what we would have been doing today, would be remembering and thinking about our dead and commemorating these losses. But sadly, this has been, muddled by this vicious attack by the president against our people at this time. So it is important. We were still going to remember. We are still going to mourn. But to use a saying that many people of different backgrounds have been saying since the election of the president, today we mourn, tomorrow we fight.
Edwidge Danticat, we want to thank you for being with us, Haitian-American novelist, speaking to us from Florida, author of a number of books, including The Farming of Bones, which won an American Book Award. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman.